This is the brand new Tesla Model 3 Highland Edition, and I just bought it. But the question is, as a business owner and a property investor, why did I choose a Tesla, and should you consider buying one too? I went for the Uplift Highland Edition on the 2024 plate, and this is actually the dual motor model, meaning that it has a motor at the front of the car and a motor at the back of the car. It's all drive, and it's far better for those longer drives, which is perfect for me, seeing as I drive all around the UK visiting investors and visiting obviously properties. Now, in terms of the dual motor, that actually kicks out 490 horsepower, meaning this car can go from 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. And in terms of range, you're looking at about 390 miles, according to Tesla. Whereas from what I've seen, it's more like 320 miles. But still, between Brighton and Liverpool, that's actually only one stop each way, which is really impressive. And interestingly, you're only meant to charge the Tesla or keep charge between 20% and 80% for daily use, and then only take it up to 90 or 100% for longer drives, otherwise that can degrade the battery over time. Inside the Tesla, there are some unusual features, such as a stalkless steering wheel where the indicators are actually on the wheel. There is customized interior lighting, and as always with a Tesla, there is a fart button. Other smart features include cameras for blind spots and reversing, which I'm definitely not used to, having previously had a Punto. There is also adaptive cruise control and lane assist, which has been very helpful.
All right, let's go.
On those longer drives, especially where a large amount of the drive is on motorway. And then last but not least is the regenerative braking, which quite frankly gets a bit addictive once you've had a car with it. Sleek black alloy wheels, which not only look good but are also great for the car's efficiency, and they improve the range due to something to do with aerodynamics or some other technical reason. And the boot is actually very spacious, which isn't something that I'd initially considered when buying this car, and goes all the way to the back there, as well as having this under tray here in which you can store all of your charging equipment. Now, moving around to the front of the car, the car has a front boot as well, also known as a frunk, and this is probably a great space for storing things such as shopping or small bags. Not that I have even used it once so far yet. There is a full glass roof front to back. There are two places to charge my phones at the front of the car here, and there's actually a couple of upgrades since the last Tesla Model 3. The first one is a 25% improvement in suspension since the last model, and the second one is a 20% reduction in noise thanks to the improved and upgraded glass windows, the suspension as I just mentioned, and a different profile of tyres. So let's talk a little bit about the positives and the negatives, which inevitably there are a bit of both. Now, talking about the positives, well, driving has literally become effortless for me. I find it very easy. This is a very comfortable and luxurious car to go round in, again, especially after using the Punto for so long. But that's perfect for me really with the long drives, with being a property investor. So comfortable, luxurious, really nice car. It's also incredibly quick and rapid, which is of course just a little added bonus. But not only that, but something that I guess really surprised me was the charging. Okay, I will go on to talk a bit more about the charging shortly, but charging was much easier than I ever anticipated, and I really thought it was going to become a burden and something that was going to affect all of my journeys, but much better than I thought. Let's talk about the negatives, okay? Because I'm about to pull into this road here and I don't have a stalk. I have to click this button on my steering wheel, which although isn't a massive inconvenience, if you can imagine that you need to now go around a roundabout and you're turning around the roundabout and you've got to hit the opposite indicator, well, that can be bit of a pain, to be quite honest. So the no stalk is a positive and a negative. I'm kind of getting used to it, so it's becoming more of a positive, but that's really taken some time. There is also a reflection from the ambient lighting. So I showed you that lighting just a minute ago, and you can actually sometimes see the reflection of that in your windscreen, which isn't ideal when you're driving on the motorway. And again, you do somewhat get used to it. It isn't too bad in certain lightings, but there's just the occasional time at the wrong lighting, the wrong time of day, where that's a lot more apparent. And then last but not least is the no noise, no car noise. I mean, it's a real positive on long drives because it's very easy to listen to the radio, to a podcast, to a book. It's easy to talk to someone, and you've not got the droning of an engine all the time. But at the same time, you know, I do like the sound of an engine. If I pull up to the lights, if I've got my windows open on a nice day, I want to hear the growl of a decent engine. And of course, you just don't get that at all. In fact, you get this kind of UFO spaceship sound, which can be cool, but at times, you know, it's a negative when I just want to hear something loud and aggressive. So as much as I love the car, that is enough about the features. I now want to move on to talking about charging the car and the tax. So let's start by talking about the charging and the costs. Everyone told me I'd never make it from Brighton to Liverpool, but they were wrong. All a bunch of Tesla haters. Charging is not as quick and easy as topping up with petrol, I will admit that. It takes around 40 minutes to go from, let's say, 20% battery to 90% battery at most motorway superchargers, but by the time I've had my own personal pit stop, I've grabbed a coffee and bought some chewing gum from WH Smith, well, there really isn't that much time left to kill. So apart from not being able to get the charger out on my first ever attempt, it has been relatively easy ever since. You literally pull up to a Tesla port, plug in, and off you go. And on the motorway, yes, they do charge a premium, but you're only looking at approximately £25 to go from 20 to 90% in charge. And as mentioned in a previous video, I only had to do one stop each way from Brighton to Liverpool. Now, using other electrical ports will normally require you to link payment up front and sign up to another app, which can be a bit of a pain. And they do charge a little bit more than Tesla, because apparently Tesla only charge electricity literally at the cost of it, whereas other companies, of course, want to make their profit margin by adding a cost of electricity on top. But really, it's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. So charging isn't as bad as you thought. But now let's talk about the tax, where this really gets exciting, and talk about my business as well, because as many of you know, I continue to purchase properties for my own portfolio, and that's always been my goal since day one for me back in 2019 when I got started. But in recent years, I've also been placing a lot of my time and focus around growing Property X, which I launched in August 2021. We offer property sourcing services to investors, and we also offer one-to-one education for those that need mentoring. Now, the Property X business does relatively well now, and well enough for me to employ several staff members, pay too much in VAT, and at the end of each year, unfortunately, also pay corporation tax. So why did I decide to purchase a Tesla over perhaps another popular car brand? Well, in short, as you can imagine, for tax purposes, and that was one of the main reasons. And these following statements, this following information can actually relate to any electric car. The first one that I want to focus on is corporation tax. So you actually get 100% first year tax allowance, meaning that if you purchase this car, this Tesla or another electric car through a limited company, you can actually deduct the cost from the company profits. So let's say the car costs £50,000, then you can actually go and deduct 100% of the cost, meaning you actually save £9,500 in tax in year one. This means a big tax saving in year one, but it does mean, unfortunately, you will pay tax on the value of the car when you go to sell it, whether that's 2 years later, 5 years later, 10 years later. Now, it's worth noting that if you actually go and lease the car, the monthly payments can also be deducted from your profits, meaning that you will also save on corporation tax in a similar-ish fashion, but you can spread out the cost of that over the years of the lease. The next benefit is benefit in kind. You see, if the car is used for personal use, then you will need to pay a benefit in kind charge. But fully electric cars are far more tax efficient and literally save hundreds of pounds per month compared to regular combustion engines. Moving quickly on, the next is car fuel benefit. I'll just put car fuel, although there is no fuel because this is an electric car. And as electricity is not classed as a road fuel, Tesla cars have no fuel benefit charge, which is a big benefit. And it means that employees are exempt from paying benefit in kind on electricity provided by their employer to charge their electric company car. And last but not least is £0 road tax, because you don't pay road tax currently on electric cars, and that is on all EVs, all electric cars, until April 2025, when they then move over to a more standard charge for vehicles. Now, this is a good moment to mention and remind you that I am not a tax expert, and I'm also not a qualified financial advisor. So I am sharing information that I have learned here before buying and then going and buying this car. But please do check this with your own accountant prior to making any big purchases, of course. But I must remind you that tax was not the only reason I bought this car. You see, as an entrepreneur, I can't help but be drawn to the marketing and the quality of the product and the branding of Tesla. I've always been drawn to different forms of innovation over the years, and the Tesla backstory and the way that they challenge the market is just so incredibly brilliant, and it just excites me. And on top of that, I actually started test driving and comparing other car options, and I just simply couldn't find a better product on the market in my own personal opinion, and I'm talking about comparison of electric cars. And what was so interesting when I actually went to Tesla is that I went to their showroom, I booked in to go and test drive the car, and I did it with my dad, and we both went out for about half an hour. We drove around and I was blown away by the car. And I'm coming back to the showroom and I'm thinking, okay, this guy's gonna sell to me now. I've got to be ready and be on my own game, because I want to buy the car, but I also don't want to be sold to and closed in the moment. And I got back to the Tesla showroom and I said, right, what's the next steps then? And he said, there are no next steps. You go away, and if you like the car, you simply go online and you order it. So what? Are you not gonna try and sell to me here? Are you not going to convince me that I have to buy on the day, otherwise I'm gonna miss some sort of incredible deal? He said, absolutely not. If you've got any questions, please let me know. I'm around. Take your time, have a look at the show car. But other than that, if you like it, go home, click order online, and off you go. I was gobsmacked, you know, and again, it comes down to quality of product and actual branding, which then means that someone will go away and still be driven enough to purchase a product. They don't need to hard sell customers in. The product does the talking. Now, of course, I wanted to purchase a Tesla. I'm the one that decided to do it, but I also needed an upgrade. I've been driving around in my Fiat Punto that you will have all seen me driving around in for many years on my YouTube channel, and that's been an absolute workhorse of a car, and it's done me really well. But there is a point in life where you just need to have a heated seat, have a bit of back support, you know, it's so nice, and have a comfortable ride, especially on those 5-hour drives that I regularly do to Liverpool or to parts of Yorkshire, or I go out to South Wales. And I've actually really enjoyed that part of owning the Tesla so far. Not only is it comfortable, it's luxurious, it's very convenient, it's a very smooth drive, it has the power, it has the tax benefits. I finally have bought a car that's brand new and not 10 years old. And I wanted to create this video to be able to share that with you. Not just for those of you that are thinking, oh, what is the Tesla like? What's the product like? But also for those of you that are trying to get inspired to buy a new car and be able to do that for a company in a tax efficient way, and you're really pushing for that future purchase. I wanted to share with you my experience and create a video for you. So I hope you've enjoyed watching it. Let me know your thoughts about my car in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.